As our bodies gradually grow older, it becomes increasingly important to prioritize activities that promote flexibility, mobility, and overall well-being. And in this podcast, Greg and I together will explore the benefits of stretching and strength training for enhancing the quality of life. And he gives a special insight as a former professional athlete, but you don't have to be a former professional athlete to gain a lot of benefits from listening today. And as we age, our bodies undergo natural changes that can affect our flexibility, our mobility, and overall physical function, as well as our mindsets. So it's essential to understand the role of stretching and strength training in supporting our bodies as we grow older. So stay tuned. This podcast is brought to you by DJWorksMedia with resources and ideas for you at mid-career or half-time of life. Check out our online courses where we want you to not only start, but finish. Books available in all versions and songs available for immediate download with sheet music and instrumental accompaniment tracks. Our musicals are family-friendly with great music that's memorable and inspiring. Sign up at goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter for weekly updates. Now to our episode. Well, hello. I have Greg with me today.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, it's always fun. Once a month, he comes on with me. I kind of drag him in, and we gain a lot of insight from having you with us. And I think our listeners really find that enlightening as well. And we're talking about a great subject today with stretching and strength training. And I wanted to approach this because I was very, very resistant to stretching because I thought it was a waste of time. And I thought, I'm big on cardio and okay, I feel like I got to break a sweat. But as I've started to do a bit more stretching, I'm finding that I do break a sweat. It's harder than I thought. Well, I'm very unflexible. So anyway, but we're going to approach this in a couple different ways with our strength training and increasing the quality of life. So why don't you kind of start out in your kind of experience, because I kind of shared that I thought it was a waste of time, but it's not. So.
To be fair, I felt the same way. It seemed like if you go to the gym, if you're not sweating, doing some jogging or elliptical machine or pushing weights, that you weren't really exercising. So when people tried to get me to stretch, it was like, oh. And now I complain to Deb that it seems like my workout is like 20 minutes of stretching, 20 minutes of cardio, 20 minutes of lifting. And so I have a similar experience, and you're probably feeling the same way. What I discovered, though, is what's key is that your cardio and your weightlifting will shorten your muscles over time. And as we get older, if you don't lengthen those muscles back out, you'll end up losing quality of life. And that's something we don't want. So especially in our back, our hamstrings, our shoulders. So I think as you age, and not just stretching, I mean, keep doing the resistance training, but recognize that you got to do both.
Yeah.
So.
I always thought with stretching that I'm so unflexible, and why would I even spend the time? I'm not going to touch my toes anyway. I've just never been able to really do that. I've always blamed it on the fact that I'm high-waisted and short-waisted. So I always blamed it on that. But it's probably because I just, I didn't spend enough time with it as well.
I don't think, I think some people are naturally flexible and some people aren't. Some people are naturally muscular. Some people aren't.
That's very true.
We all get dealt a slightly different hand in life. And, we just got to learn to, do stuff that we're not naturally good at. And especially as we get older, I think.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So, your maybe lack of flexibility was only going to get worse if you didn't start stretching. So,
and you bringing up how the cardio and the weightlifting, how it shortens your muscles. That really confirms the fact that we do need to spend the time.
Right.
And in fact, some insurance companies, they believe in, at this point anyway, that we're recording this, they believe in the value of stretching so much is that they add that on as a benefit.
Yeah.
And I was surprised at that. Why would you do that? I mean, I know some of the gym memberships are added on, but stretching is.
Yeah, the health insurance companies are now saying that not only are gym memberships likely to reduce your insurance use, but stretching is.
Yes.
So just another verification.
Yeah, that's. I think that's very valuable in looking at that. So, well, let's look at a couple of those things of the range of motion. Let's talk about that and maybe the balance, especially balance and coordination.
Oh, yeah, balance was another one. So, So, naturally our muscles get smaller as we age. We don't have as much testosterone. Mm-hmm. So resistance training matters. Our muscles shorten, so stretching matters, but also our balance starts to go. So talking about something that feels like a complete waste of time, practicing my balance.
It's
but you read something recently how important maintaining balance was. What was that?
It really is. I mean, the balance is so important as we. You hear about people breaking hips and falling and all of that. With the balance, it helps in your posture. It helps in a lot of times you'll bend over because you're looking or you're trying to,
I thought, didn't you say maintaining your balance helped you keep you mentally sharp?
And it does help you keep mentally sharp as well because it's keeping the body
on your head to do that?
You don't have to do that. Oh. But it's a mindset too of just the mental acuity that we have. Yeah. So it's kind of a benefit of working out, period. But stretching is a part of that. And
I was just surprised that author brought up balance. Yeah.
Because it's something. If you've not faced this yet, you will. And I watch our little dog, she'll be on this, she
can walk over everything.
Tiny. So she'll, watch, walk the curbs and little tiny areas. And we're going, not going to do that one right now. No. So, it helps in some other areas. We really want to talk about some of the benefits, and then we'll talk about maybe some of the specific resources. And there'll be an article linked with this. I don't know if it'll be a new article, but it'll be linked with this. And so I will put some links also in the show notes of maybe some resources that I've found very, very valuable because I work out early in the morning. And especially after COVID, I started working out in our own space. And I continue to do so because I can do that very early in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so I've added on some of these exercises and I've found some resources that have really helped me the best. And I'll put a couple of those in, but it also can help. And you've experienced this with some of the stretching and even the physical therapy stretching that you've done with your chronic pain and conditions, because you've faced some areas of your body that have needed that have had some pain. So the benefits of some of those stretching exercises specifically has seemed to really help you. I
had to undergo a couple of surgeries to get rid of bone spurs underneath my feet. And in the recovery process, the back of my legs atrophied, and as those atrophied, the front of my legs started to atrophy. So just getting out of a chair was harder. Certainly, balance was harder. Being able to walk a normal amount of distance became difficult. And then after you do all of that, all your muscles are tight. So, stretching had to become part of what I did. And it was necessary because, at least for me, and I guess it is true for a lot of people, as your hamstrings tighten, they pull on your back where they attach. And a lot of us think we have back problems, and it's really just tight hamstrings. But boy, does it hurt. And keeping, that posterior muscle group lengthened really helps your back. And if you think about it, as you sit all day, you naturally are shortening those muscles in your back and in your rear end and your hamstrings. So you've worked really hard. You spend 8 hours a day in your chair. You worked really hard shortening those muscles. So, it just makes sense that you need a half an hour to lengthen them back out. And normally you should stretch after you've warmed up. So, if you're going to do cardio, whether it's a short jog or a walk or, elliptical machine, do that first, and immediately right after, while you're nice and loose, stretch. Just as you're cooling down, stretch, everything lengthen back out, kind of let your day go as, you're cooling back down. And then, after you've stretched, it doesn't hurt to just lay on the mat for a couple of minutes and just finish your cool down. And that will relax you and get you ready for your evening. Now, just to be fair, so Debbie does this early in the morning.
I do.
The thought of her resting for 2 minutes, not going to happen.
For those of you that know me, you probably go, I know. But I wanted to bring something up because I had been in so many of those PE classes and everything. We always started out by stretching. Well, to me, it was like, why do this after you do cardio and after you do, if I'm on my stationary bike or if I, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm running on a treadmill, doing anything like that, or doing weights, why do the stretching afterwards? But when you explained how that will end up shortening the, tightening the muscles and how you need to just stretch them out. And I tell you what, when I put the stretching after, I'm amazed at how much better I feel.
Oh, good.
It's really, really interesting. And I've not been doing it that long, by the way, I'll admit. So I've been resistant, except for having to do a little bit of it, when you go someplace and they take you through the exercises, but putting it as far as, part of my routine has really been very, very good for me. I find that it's, made my back feel better. I do a lot of computer work. I do a lot of, video work, all of that. And so by the time, do that, or else I'm, in front of a camera, I'm doing something that is very physical, ends up being very physical, or that you're in one place. So that's where it's very, very good for that. So, and one thing you brought up, how important this is because really, it doesn't matter what stage of life you're at. You can be young and still facing a knee surgery, because especially with athletes, a knee surgery, a hip surgery, and more we are seeing these happen with friends of ours, but even athletes of ours, young athletes. So having the mindset that it's not just about showing up at physical therapy, but putting it into a part of your daily, your routine, workout routine. So, and I was just kind of laughing because as I was going through, starting to put it into my routine, I'm thinking, I'm out of breath. And I was remembering you doing some of your stretching exercises. I'm thinking, why is he breathing so hard? I was laughing.
She was worried about me, making fun of me.
Yes. But now I think I'm identifying now that, oh, okay, that's part of the stretching. It's hard. So,
although if you remember to breathe while you're stretching, then
Yes.
you won't be as much out of breath.
yeah. And part of my stretching routine, one of the little exercises is a breathing exercise.
Oh, good.
And I find that's very, very good because as a musician, as a singer for years, you'd expect your breath to be, very, very, strong, and you're going to keep going on it. And I didn't want one of those real wide vibratos when I was singing. I really wanted to keep that nice, straight pop sound that I could control. And now I'm finding my breath is it's getting a little harder. And as I really notice it because I do these early morning walks, and I do walk once a week. I do a nice 5-mile walk, and mostly uphill. And I tell you, my breath, I have to spend a little more time on my breath to make sure that it's very, very consistent. So it does take time, though. It takes time. Well, let's hit on a couple more benefits and some of the resources that you found, maybe even an exercise or two that you wanted to share that will help people kind of get into stretching, our strength training, where we've talked about quite a bit how important weights are, and I'll link to that article as well, how important, weight training is. And especially at this time of our life, the weight training is very important. And again, I keep going to the cardio, because I'm just so used to the cardio. It's, I like to, I don't like to sweat really, but I need to feel like I've done something. And, but the strength training, and the stretching being very, very important. I wanted to focus on stretching today. So what are a couple things that you might want to add to that? Maybe specific things, areas?
Specific things would be, touching your toes, whether you're standing up, reaching down to touch your toes, sitting down, reaching out, touch your toes, spread your legs, reach out, straight in front of you, reach out and touch each toe. It lengthens your hamstrings and gives you a chance to stretch your back too. And naturally, a good back stretch is lay down on your back, just hook one leg over the other and push the knee down towards the floor as far as you can, and just feel that stretch. And generally, if you hold these for 30 to 40 seconds, switch sides and do each side 2 or 3 times, that's going to be good for you. Good, I was going to talk about good shoulder stretches, but literally, if you Google or YouTube shoulder stretches, you'll get dozens.
Yes.
So, the internet is it's
full
ready for you.
And I was going to give a clue of something that's really helped me. And
actually, on Instagram, Stretching Guru is a great site. And then there's Knee Recovery, which offers some terrific leg strengthening exercises so that you're using your legs instead of your knee to bring support. A lot of knee problems happen because our legs get weaker, and we're trying to use our knee joint to maintain stability.
Interesting.
So if you strengthen your lower calf, your quads and your rear end, they'll be doing the job that they're supposed to do and take wear and tear off your knee.
Great advice. And this comes from, the physiology of the body. So I think that's really important. And that's not, my area of expertise. It's not either one of our really areas. There are people that have done years and years of training just in this.
I learned all mine being in a training room.
Yes.
So getting work done.
Getting work done. That's right. So something that's helped me, my little clue here is because I'm kind of a routine person, but I like some sort of guidance to go by. And I do a lot of reading, a lot of book reviews as well. And I've done quite a few on some of these Pilates and, stretching books. And I found especially there's a couple, and the one I'm using right now has a little bit larger print. The nice thing is to having larger print is if you are working out, you don't have to put glasses on. If you're starting to use glasses, some people use glasses all their life. I've had to use them because my eyes are so different. I've
last
used them
3 or 4 years. Right?
No, I've actually used them. Actually, I think I read the eye chart backwards when I was taking a driving test, and that was my first time I had to get glasses. It's like, anyway, that was a pretty funny story. Anyway, but this one, this little book, I'm just going to show you. I take my iPad, and I don't think you can see everything here if you're looking. But, it has large illustrations. It has a guide in the back. If I could turn it all the way around so you can see, and this is like a wall Pilates. And so it, if you're watching the video, you can see, but in the back, it gives me, the guidance and the pages, the page numbers. And I'll put the link to this. I really like this book just because it was so easy. And I've gotten some other ones, and it's kind of tiny, and you're going through each one of them, and you kind of go through these little guides of, okay, what works the best for you? So when you find something like that, I just bring this with me, and it's easy. I've got a little guide for that day, and it's at the end of my cardio workout that I've been doing. I've been adding these in, and still do some weights, but I end up adding some of these in. It helps me keep that, and they're a little bit different every day. You can rotate them around. A lot of them are on like a 30-day, 30-day, so you can kind of rotate them. Or you may have a couple different resources to do, but make it easy for yourself. That's the main thing. It doesn't have to be something like really hard, because there's a lot that gives so much text and information, and it's like trying to follow a really involved recipe. You can even attempt it. Maybe some people will, but after my Bon Appetit sort of experience, I decided that wasn't the way I wanted to cook. And it might not be the way you want to do your stretching exercises. You want to have it easier. So what other sort of advice could you give on stretching? You've learned that from you've been in training rooms, but also you've been a part of some of the physical therapy that you've kind of added on.
Well, I think the one thing that I believe we need to get over is that somehow exercise is something you do 3 days a week, 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Walking and stretching are 7 days a week kinds of things. It's just not that hard to get, time in to walk 20 minutes and stretch 20 minutes. Right. If you don't have time to lift, okay. But literally, you could do 3 sets of squats just with body weight. You don't have to go to the gym. You could do push-ups. So, while you're on the floor stretching, roll over and do some push-ups. You can get a lot done pretty quick.
Yes.
So, but I really encourage you to think 6-7 days a week, that it's just, you walk around, parts of the day anyway, just extend the walk. Yeah. And make sure you get your steps in. And then after you've walked, stretch. And you can stretch in a stairwell.
Yeah. Anywhere. Yeah. Yeah. You look at some of those, like your hamstring stretches where you just put your foot, down. You can do those anywhere. And you can do it off of a curb.
Yeah. And if you consistently do it 6-7 days a week, in 90 days, you'll notice a big change.
Yeah, you will notice. And also I wanted to bring up, because we talked briefly with the mindset, and it can reduce some stress, that you're feeling better. So,
anytime you're achieving something, you're feeling better.
Yeah. So. And that mental awareness. And when we talked about balance and how, that increases even your concentration, your ability to, feel better. Well, there is just something showing up with good posture. That's a little bit of a self-confidence, sort of emulating that self-confidence, but it's also a mindset that we adapt as we even walk into a room. So, but some of the stretching things, I've noticed how and I have to admit, I haven't been just really, really consistent for years, like you have, I think. But basically, you really started seeing even more of the advantage after your toe surgeries because of what happened. You were on a great little scooter on that, but you didn't realize what was happening to those muscles. So, but I'm thrilled that you're walking, and we walk quite a bit. So that's a good thing. So, well, any other words to kind of sum us up? I think we really talked about, hopefully you feel inspired, and I'll put some resources in so you can pursue that further. But we've really talked about a lot of the physical benefits of this.
I think we gave them a little roadmap too.
Yeah. And the quality of life, and different, especially what happens to the muscles. Actually, I had sort of forgotten that. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because now I'm thinking, well, that's really, really good for me to have to do. That was really very, very good. So. Good. Well, I hope everyone has enjoyed this, who has listened. You've hung on to us all the way to the episode, all the way to the end. Make sure that you get all of our articles as well, and that I put a lot of links into these podcast notes as well. And our articles do come out every single week, give you a lot of free downloads, and you get all of that. We don't spam you. You can unsubscribe anytime, but goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. Of course, there's other places you can get a hold of me as well, Deborah Johnson Speaker and DJ Works Music. And we will look forward. We're on once a month together, and I will see you very soon in the next podcast episode. So bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. It is because of our wonderful listeners like you that we keep going strong week after week. We'd love it if you'd share and follow us to not miss a single show, and even write a review. You can also find all of our articles, products, and links at womenathalftime.com.